Can you see us now?
Got to put the light on.
What? Can you see us now?
She can't hear us.
How do I do this? I can sort of see. I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
But you're not like very big on my screen.
Yeah, that's okay. We're usually quite small anyway.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's for everyone. It's not too. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny platform.
That's
okay. Wow, I'm so excited. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just welcome everyone. Welcome to Witch Bitch, where we talk the real tea. And today we have the honor of having Kristy Trede on our show. I'm just so grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we start off every show by asking our guest, how did you wake up? Like, what's your spiritual awakening sort of story? And then we just kind of go from there.
Yeah, we take it naturally.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Are you asking me that now? Are we live? We're live,
yeah,
right?
Sorry,
yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Fabulous. Alrighty. So the question was, how did I wake up? Well,
yeah.
Claude, you were there.
Yeah, right.
Right? You were there.
Yeah, it was at the thing, at the workshop that we did together.
Yeah, like I had literally just walked away from everything. I'd hit rock bottom, and I think we were in like this meditation, and I had this woman with white hair come to me, and I couldn't see her face, and I said to her in the meditation, "Who are you? Like, can you show me who you are?" And she said, "You're not ready yet. The teacher will appear when the student is ready." I was like, so cliche. But and it's really interesting that two of my most prominent teachers have been they're two different ladies, but they're both long grey hair, both really fine features. And I knew when I saw them that I was ready to learn from them. So that was really special. But I also had a psychic awakening on the same weekend, which was I had somebody come to me from the other side and want me to deliver a message. And because...
About the owl? Was that about the owl?
Yes, the owl. Yeah. That's right. You remember that? The owl.
I remember it, yes.
The owls. And I found out that it was one of my closest and dearest friends that the message had to go to. But it was like I was jumping through hoops, and my psychic abilities were like, I didn't even realize I had access to them, and I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. But that was like my awakening. I'm really grateful to my friend at the time too for receiving a message from what must have seemed like the craziest woman in the world, going, "Hey, your brother's here and he wants me to give you this message." And I'm not a medium. Well, I say I'm not a medium, but my mediumship isn't developed. I like really lean into the intuitive side of it, like the tapping into energies, gut feelings, listening to our intuition. Yeah, so that's my awakening story.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I was there.
Yeah, you were there. I didn't know that. I knew that you guys were at a workshop.
Yeah,
together.
I knew that you had a profound change happen to you that weekend, but I didn't know that was it.
That was it.
And I know, that you had, like, your mum had like intuitions, and she had spoken to you about that.
She was one of my teachers.
It. Yeah, and you had rejected it. You were like, totally. No way. Am I going to get into this? Yeah, totally. I remember that part.
Yeah, so my mum, I grew up with a witchy poo mum who was into like all the things, and she taught tarot cards, and I read oracle. I'm not drawn to tarot, you know, and I feel like it's with everything, it's intuitively, you know, wherever you're being pulled is where you need to sort of just trust in the process. And tarot is very structured, where oracle is very free flow. And that's me. I don't like, I rebel against structure. So that's why Oracle really calls me. But she, you know, she also does or did numerology. She taught numerology for many years. And actually I remember sitting, like, maybe I was like 16, sitting in a meditation, in one of her meditation classes. I just remember this, and I remember being up in the clouds and having another profound experience up there, and feeling quite special when I sort of came down and shared the experience with the rest of the people in the room that were there to do the meditation. And I remember going to psychics over the years going, you're really psychic. And like, I call BS on that now, because we actually all have access to our psychic abilities. Just some people choose, you know, some people, it's just not their path this lifetime, right? And some people it is. Some people are in tune right from the start, and some people need to go through a bit of a journey to access that, which was kind of my journey along the way. But yeah, it's my mum's always encouraged my gifts, but I did reject them for some time. And, you know, even after that weekend, Claude, when Jacob came to me, it took a while. It's interesting that I've only ever really had two spirits come to me with messages. One was Jacob and one was Corinne. They were brother and sister. So my best friend, lost her brother and sister in two separate events. And I feel like that was like my blessing. Like, they were actually teaching me, right? And helping me to sort of I think because I knew them, it really helped me to open up my gifts. It did take, you know, that journey was like 5 or 6 years before I really fully embraced it. Like, fully embraced it. And I remember doing, like, I remember, I think this was like maybe at the beginning of COVID, and I was like, I just felt like this birthing was happening, and I was like I didn't know what it was. I couldn't make sense of it, but I just knew that I needed to birth something, and like into the world, something like greater than me, right? And I remember one of my coaches, or the woman I reached out to, Kezia Lee, she had a container that back then was called Magic Mission Money. And I remember being on this call to her, and I'm like, I have no idea why I'm here, but I want to know what, like, I feel like you're here to teach me something. And she goes, well, I'm just about to launch this program called Magic Mission Money. And she told me what it was, and I was like, I'm in, sign me up. Like, it was just everything that I knew I needed inside of me to birth whatever. Like, and I had no idea. It was a business program. I didn't have a business at that point. I did, but this was separate, right? This was to do with the birthing of what ended up, like, I literally birthed Speaking with Spirit through that program. Like, she challenged me one day. I've got my cards here. So I used to channel by scribing. So I'd tune in. I think, Claude, I've done this for you over the years too.
Oh, you and I, we worked together very, very early on. Went like very early, and you were just learning.
Yeah, and I think I was writing everything then, right?
No, you didn't. It was before even the writing.
Oh wow!
You were just telling, like, you were connecting in with usually my dad.
Yeah.
And then he would give you the messages to give me.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Okay. So from there, I upgraded my skills to channeling. Like, I was like, I just needed to channel. So I would like grab a pen and paper, and I would tune in, like, literally like this. And this is all in my head. I asked to be connected to my higher self. I asked my higher self to raise my vibration, and I'd feel that lift and shift and feel instant gratitude in that moment. And the gratitude helps you open up, right? And then I asked my higher self to connect me to the collective consciousness. And then I just, like, there's a few ways that I do this, and anyone can do this. I literally feel like the top of my head is opening up like a lotus, and this cord kind of plugs into the ether, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I just ask a question. Like, I can ask, you can ask any question, right, and get downloads. But the one that I ask all the time is simply, what does this person need to know that will serve them to their highest purpose?
Yeah,
and
right.
literally feel the flow of information come through. Now, at the start, I didn't get information right away. It might be just, I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, but there's nothing coming through. And then like 3 days later, I'd be driving along and then bang, like I'd have to pull over and like I'd just get this instant download and I'd be like on my phone crazy, like typing it out.
I got the message.
I got it. Thank you. And like I felt like I was at the for so long I felt like I was at the mercy of it all, and you know, I was really overwhelmed. I felt like there was like like I'd walk into a room with 1,000 people and I'd have 1,000 people talking to me and I couldn't make any sense of it. And that's all part of the process. Like this is part of learning how to control, like realizing we can actually put boundaries up with spirit. Again, that came later, but the point to my story is that I was scribing, and Kezia, at this stage, I'd been scribing for a couple of years, and Kezia had said to me, just get on and like do your thing. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just get on a live. I'm like, Kezia, I don't think you understand. Like, I write. What am I meant to do? Go, hold up. You guys just wait there for 30 minutes and watch me write. Like, that's not going to work. She goes, just grab your oracle cards. You know, like they've got, just pick an oracle card and read it, right? Okay, so I'd do that. And I get there. I had not done a live. I was scared out of my brains, and I literally shuffled the deck and I did my connection, and I asked, like I had people on lives and they were asked, like everyone was like, give me a reading. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I have no freaking idea what I'm doing here. So I pulled a card for the First Lady, and I remember looking at this card, and I remember words like almost leaping off the page at me. I remember parts of the image, like sort of, I was hyper focusing on stuff. So I read the card, and then something inside of me literally opened up, and I just started reading from that day. And it was that day that Speaking with Spirit downloaded into me, like through that, like that morning, literally everything. I knew that, you know, I had to hyper focus. I knew that if there was too many voices in the room, I literally went, hold up. You guys need to pull your energy back. I need to pull my energy back. And I want you to choose one person, or give me one single stream of information to flow through me in a way that I can understand. And instantaneously it happened, right? And I knew in that moment that all I had to do was tell Spirit how to interact with me. It's energy, right? It just desires boundaries to flow through and guidelines to run by. And we get to create that. Each and every one of us get to create that. So
like a fingerprint, because we each process differently, don't we? Yeah,
we do, and we're all like, we actually all vibrate differently, because that's why we look different, right?
Yeah,
we look different, we hear different, we see different. We're all different. We all desire different things. You know, at the start, I was like, you know, of this awakening, when I had that experience with Jacob and Corinne, and I was like, after a while, I was like, hang on, I don't want to wake up to dead people talking to me in the middle of the night. That is just not my thing. Like, if you guys do that, seriously, I am totally out of here. I will wee my pants. Like, seriously, no go there, right? And since then, I've, you know, and I sort of parked. That's the mediumship. I've parked that. And, you know, again, we all have access to this. But I needed to put some serious boundaries up so that I could lose the fear that I had. It's the fear that blocks us, and that was probably the one thing that was kind of holding me back. So once I parked that and I trusted, because Spirit taught me very, very, very quickly through that whole process that Spirit does not go against your free will. Once you say, it does. It's simple. And the more you trust that, the more you actually start trusting yourself and your own intuitive flow.
Yeah, my issue with that is I say yes, but it's not yes. Like I've got this desire to connect.
Yeah.
And I like I say yes, let's connect, but it
Yeah.
doesn't connect because somewhere inside me I hold on to the fear.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so I think I'm ready, and I think things are going to move forward, but
Yeah.
it goes very slowly, or it stalls, or it doesn't happen because there's
Yeah.
something in me that is stopping it, and I'm not
Yeah.
aware of that.
Okay. When you connect, when you tell me what it means to you to connect.
Well, I don't have a process
Okay, that would be a start.
because I don't have a I
Sorry.
haven't created a process in me
Yeah.
to do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But the times that it has happened, once was in the shower. So it's
Oh,
usually
yeah.
around water.
I remember
It's
that.
usually around
Yep.
water. So
Yep.
once was in the shower and it came out of the blue, was my dad talking to me. It just came out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other time was when I did an anger release at the ocean, and I let all this stuff out and just
Yeah.
screamed. And then when I was finished doing that,
Yeah.
all this information came to me.
Yeah.
So usually water, I have to have some kind of water element around me for
Yeah.
it to work,
Okay.
in my
Do you,
experience. But other
yeah.
than that, I haven't created a process. I haven't looked
Okay.
into it. Yeah.
Cool. So do you think that belief is blocking you as well? That you need water to connect?
Well, yeah, maybe, but it's like I feel open to
Yeah.
a process or to anything. But
Yeah.
what's happening inside me is more of a worthiness issue and a fear
Yeah.
around, like you said, seeing dead people, and
Yeah.
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 it's that
Yeah.
horror movie playing in your mind,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Totally. Totally. So this is like, so when I teach people how to connect with spirit, when I take them through my programs, generally we spend a whole month creating 4 to 6 weeks creating the foundations before we even connect.
Yeah.
Like, we're connecting, right? But our focus isn't on connecting. Our focus is on
Yeah,
creating
right.
the foundation. So, things that create the foundations, boundaries, right? Creating our own rule book with spirit, just having conversations with spirit and telling spirit how we want to receive. Like, I don't want information just downloading me at random times. I want to make sure that when I connect to you, I get a clear, concise message at the point of connection, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be receiving random messages, because that's, this is when we need to come into integrity. Part of that process for me of receiving these messages from other people without being invited was, like I said, I was just very blessed at the time that my best friend was very open to me sharing that with her. But a lot of people aren't. And what we're actually doing is connecting to their energy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you would never let someone just barge through your front door. You'd, like, even though
Yeah.
imagine someone walking in your front door, coming in and cleaning your house up, like, they're doing a good thing, right? But how intrusive would that feel if they just barged in the front door and just started cleaning your house randomly?
Yeah.
Right? You would feel like someone was, like, being intrusive. It's the same thing with energy. It's like, I remember at the start of my journey, and I know that so many people that are, having these awakened messages experience this. And it's like, oh my God, I have to tell that person the thing. I've worked it out. We are not spirit's personal messenger. We are not like the delivery man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're doing is we're getting in the way of their experience. We're interjecting when it's not, we shouldn't be controlling that, right?
Yeah.
We
Right.
absolutely 100% need to be invited into that space. That is like, to me, if I forget everything else, and if you remember this one thing, we only ever give information that's been invited. right?
Yeah.
The second so sometimes I'll sit down with a friend, and I don't do readings for friends, right? But I'm really guarded, like I'm really strict with my boundaries of my energy, because my energy is my own, and I understand that it's not just like, sometimes you feel drained.
Yeah.
Right, from other people. Trust me, other people, we're draining other people's energy as well. There's like this two-way thing, right? It's not just a one-way thing, and it's very unconscious. So I'm really, really super radically responsible with my own energy these days. And when I sit down with friends, occasionally, because it feels, the energy is so familiar, and it's like, right, sometimes
you
my
relax.
energy opens up, and I feel that openness, and we're having a conversation, and I start to get this intuitive train of thought, and I'm like, does this feel, this is not mine. Most of the time I'll just sort of pull back. I'm like, okay, I just imagine myself pulling my energy back. Enough of that, guys, no more. I don't want this. And straight away it's gone, right? Other times I'll say, and I'll be very discerning about this, right? And there's a reason for that. I will say, I'm just getting a little bit of a download. Like, do you want me to share this with you, or would you like me to pull back and just like, most people go, yeah, okay, share it with me. Some people actually say, yeah, no, I'm not interested. And that's okay. We've got to remember, not everyone's open to this either, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and this is where I know, if it's a very close friend of mine, I will always pull my energy back, and I will never give that intuitive train of thought, ever. Because I'm so close to them that personally I cannot discern whether that's my own opinion or spirit in that moment. I am very good at discerning spirit to my own thoughts, but in my experience with family and friends, my opinion becomes so loud. So that voice, the ego, which is another thing that we learn in the foundations, is creating a healthy relationship with that ego, right? Not pushing it away, not telling it to shut up. Sometimes the ego is so smart that it disguises itself. So even I get tricked by my ego sometimes. And if I don't know, if I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like this is what they should do, that sounds opiniony to me, I'm just not going to share that, because it's not in integrity, right?
Yeah, of course.
So we've got boundaries, integrity, building a healthy relationship with our ego, right? Trust and surrender. So trust is the absolute overall key. And like, looking after the vessel, clean mind, healthy body. It's not just about feeding ourselves healthy food. It's like, having movement, understanding our emotions, like cause blockages. Like, we are not broken. No one's broken. No one needs healing. We simply have stagnant energy. I hate the word healing, but I use it myself because people relate to it, right?
Yeah.
But most people think if they need healing, they're broken. That's completely wrong. You just have stagnant energy in certain parts of your body, which is just blocked emotions, right? We work with anger releases to release the anger, to get to what's underneath that. We work with sadness, shame, and guilt. We, all the things. And once you start opening that up, once you start sort of creating those foundations, you start to create like this really strong structure to channel intuitive, or like whatever you want to call it. It's intuition, it's psychic messages, it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Intuition and psychic messages both come from an unexplainable place. They are both the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
when we have that clear container, it just starts to flow through a lot easier. But like I said before, trust is the key. So for you, Claude, and anyone else watching that feels like they don't have a process or struggle to connect, having a structure to start with is key, right? And I'm happy to share one. I just shared it before, but I'll take you through a quick process in a second if have we got time?
Yes.
Beautiful. And the the key, like I said, is trust. So if you can imagine like a faucet, like you've got the tap, right? And you've got the turns on at the top and the water pours out, right?
Yeah.
So at the moment, yours is off. The water's there. The intuitive messages are there, right? When we tap into that, right? All we need to do is start writing or speaking whatever crazy, silly messages are coming through our mind. Doesn't matter how silly it sounds. But what that does is it starts to turn that tap on. And the second you start to turn that tap on, which is speaking it or writing it, that just starts to flow, right? But a lot of us get to this point where it's like the tap's off and it's like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. If you've got a pen and paper and you can't think of anything in your mind, start writing, I've got nothing in my mind. I've got nothing in my mind. I've got nothing in my mind, until another thought comes through, and then just start writing that.
Yeah, right.
And literally you will then start the flow. And the more you write, the more it will flow. The ego will come in, always does. I always say, even when I'm doing readings, my ego, okay, if I've got someone like this, right, not very engaging, and I'm like 20 minutes into a call and they're still straight face, no emotion, the ego goes, they think you're telling lies. They think you're crazy. They think you're making it all up. And I just take a breath and I'm like, and this is a conversation in my head. So you see that I'm pointing here for my ego all the time. My ego's a parrot and he sits on my shoulder, right? He's welcome to sit here. I bring him to the table. He's allowed to speak. And I look at him in that moment. I'm like, oh my God, I love you. I hear you. I see you. And I get, you know what? We might be making this up, but I'm just going to keep going anyway. And we're just going to see how this unfolds. And he sits there and he listens. And sometimes he's like, see, they still think you're making it up. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, let's just get to the end and see what they say. We get to the end, right? And every single time I have someone like this, they're like, oh my God, how did you know all that stuff? They're like, because they come into it so skeptical. They're like, I'm not going to give away anything, right?
Yeah,
but
it's
then
on
at
purpose.
the end, then I totally, and then I like look at we hang up, and I imagine my beautiful parrot, and I'm like, see, we did it. It's like, okay, well. And he just gets quieter and quieter. He doesn't go away. The ego's part of us. It's who it is, right? The ego's there to keep us safe. So developing that healthy relationship is really, really critical.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about the foundations is you're actually developing a relationship with spirit, right? With source energy, with your spirit guides, with the angels, with the collective, the super consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. You are literally creating a relationship, a healthy relationship, right?
Yeah.
And you are creating it on your own terms. Now, do you know what the beautiful thing about this is? The most humbling part of this journey for me is that what you're doing in that moment as you're creating these foundations and building that relationship is you are literally shifting your internal reality. Do you know what happens when you do that? If you shift your internal reality, your external reality shifts instantaneously.
Yeah.
Like that. When every single time we do boundaries, within 2 weeks, when we do speaking with spirit, we have weekly calls. They get on the calls and I can feel the tension in the room. Like, what's going on, guys? Let's have a share. So they have a share and they're like, everyone's angry at me. And we go around the room, same thing. We did boundaries 2 weeks ago. How's your boundaries going, guys? Oh my God, everyone's annoyed with me because I'm starting to use my voice. I'm like, yeah, because we don't teach them to use it in the outside world. That's not part of the program. It's only with spirit. But what spirit does is raise that bar, right? They learn where their boundary is, and people on the outside world just have to start finding their way and work out where they stand again with these people. It's seriously not intentional, but that's just what happens. Yeah. And it happens with everything. It's it's mind-blowing. So, Claude, I've got a question for you. Juliet, and Claude and everyone else that's watching, do you guys know how you see psychically? Like, have you ever had a clairvoyant experience?
Yes.
You go
Yeah.
first. I'll answer second.
Yes. So audibly, so I hear
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
And I feel them,
Feel
like a
them,
knowing.
sentient. Yep.
Yeah.
So
And every
cognizance,
now and then, I don't get complete visions. I never have, but I get peripheral. I see things in my periphery, like a flash of blue or somebody walking past, and I look and there's nothing there. So I don't get anything directly into my eyeballs.
Yeah.
I get it from the side.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You mean
I
like
think that's a
you mean
development thing.
yeah, you mean it doesn't happen like it does in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't get a full picture of something, but I'll get like a little flash on the side.
Okay. So thanks to Hollywood, people have this perception that it needs to be a full vision.
Yeah, right.
All right. Are you ready? Do you want me to blow your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to do a practice first, and then I'm going to share something with you. So first of all, I want you to, my invitation is to close your eyes down and take a deep breath.
I'll do it too.
Yeah, you do it too. Everyone do this. It's amazing.
Everyone do it.
Everybody do it. Yes.
Alrighty, closing down your eyes. Taking a deep breath in. We're just going to take a few breaths in and really drop in, okay? Exhaling all the way out. Allow the next breath to be slightly fuller than the last. And on the exhale, relaxing your shoulders, your belly, and your pelvis as you fully drop into this space. Taking another really deep breath in and feeling the space around your heart slightly expand, creating more space and more room. Continuing to come back to the breath and start to take notice of the temperature in the room around you. Start to feel and sense energy flowing through you. Where does it start? Where does it track to? And any thoughts or emotions, just observe them. Don't hold on to them. Just watch them flow through you. And just in your mind's eye, bring up a memory of the last time that you went to the beach. Have a look around you. What do you see? Who is with you? What can you hear? What can you reach out and touch? What do you feel? What emotions are running through you in this moment? What can you smell? And what can you touch? And what can you taste? Taking it all in, get curious, move around that space. Interact in that space. If someone's with you, Start a conversation. Ask them a question. And now just imagining that you're coming back into the present moment, back into the room you're in. Noticing the temperature of the room you're in, the seat beneath your bottom, the hair on the back of your neck, the clothes on your skin, and when you're ready, coming back to the screen and opening your eyes. Alrighty. So did you remember the beach? Do you remember seeing the beach?
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing the sensations, the noises around you? Did you feel the temperature, the sun, or the coldness of the wind, or did you smell the salty air?
Yeah, all of that.
Did you hear the conversation? Juliet knows where this is going. Did you hear the conversation?
Yeah.
The conversation is almost like a flow of information, right?
Yeah, there was no words.
No, but it was like a train of thought,
there was
right?
no speaking. Yeah, it was just it was an energy exchange.
I was the same, but mine, because my last memory of the beach, I wasn't with anyone, so there was no one there. But my conversation was with the seaweed and with the animals in the water.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah. My mother was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I saw her, I was like, no, I don't want you. Bring Dad in.
Yeah.
And my dad flashed, and then my mum was like, no, I'm staying. It was like,
really?
Yeah, it was really.
She's got some. Okay. Did she have
And
something
then I
to say
said,
to
what are
you?
you doing here? I said to her, what are you doing here energetically? And she just smiled at me. She didn't answer. There was no.
Wow.
It was just her standing there smiling. Yeah.
Letting you know
That's
she's
beautiful.
there.
Yeah, she was just like, she was gonna, like, my dad. I wanted to bring my dad in, and my dad came in for a second, and then she was like, no, it's me. I'm here.
Yeah. Well, my invitation to you is to, after this call, if you've got some space today, is to carve out some time and to go back to that space and have a conversation in your mind with her, journal it.
Yeah, okay.
So that's how you see psychically.
Yeah, right.
Just it's like your imagination, like the way that we recall memories in our minds, the way we see, hear, feel, touch, taste, like it's all there, right?
Yeah.
That's how you see it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That makes so much sense. I did hear about that from, following psychics and hearing their perspective of things, like, and I really relate and like resonate with to that information, that it's not like how it seems. Because for me, I've always been quite an intuitive person. You as well. What Mum didn't mention, she can read the future. Like, she knows what's coming. She's like my compass. Like, how are you feeling today, Mum? Anything coming up, and I'll know what that means for tomorrow or the week ahead.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that, though, the funny thing about me knowing things from the future is that it doesn't feel any different to me than any other thought or feeling that I've had.
So you can't pick it.
Yeah. So it's just like, for example, I was at TAFE learning how to make jewelry, like gold and silversmithing and all that. And we had to do a project, and my project involved silencing particularly women in this. And this was about
October to November in 2019.
Yeah, so just before
COVID.
Yes.
And she did a face mask made out of.
So I had to do a diary of ideas and research things and put in pictures and drawings in my research book. And my final jewelry piece had an X in it, not the mask, but I was going to do mouth jewelry.
Yeah.
That was my initial plan. It was all to do with silencing the mouth. And all the pictures in my diary
Oh my God.
are all the pictures that were circulating during COVID about, slaves, not being able to talk, having masks on, having like the headgear on with the big thing around the mouth. And all my research was coming out in 2020 and 2021, and all the pictures that I'd already researched myself, things like that. And like our dog came to us 7 years ago or something, and he looked like a little panda, tiny little black and white panda. So I called him China. Just things like that, like, like just normal everyday things that it was coming out in my everyday life. But then years later, it was like happening and significant in different ways.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, oh, sorry, you go.
No. I was just going to say that, like, this is a thing. We all have gifts, and we all access them in our own way. Because, like I said before, we're all just different, like, frequencies, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. I really love how, because Mum is like, our psychic abilities are very different, and we haven't tapped in too potently into them. Like, we are, obviously we are spiritual, and we are always feeling into the collective and into our own emotions. But when it comes to channeling and like that psychicness of it, we're not too focused on that stuff. It just happens when it happens. And when we have focused on it, when we have tapped into it, it's so different between us.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more of a writing channel, at least where I am now, because I imagine that eventually I'll develop it enough to be able to just read out of my brain. But I'm more...
And you're more magical.
Yeah, I channel things like dragons and things in other realms.
Beautiful.
When I first had my awakening, I was seeing these sparkles. Oh, it happened all the time.
Yeah, me too.
These like white sparkles everywhere, every day, multiple times. I was just seeing them. And I was telling someone about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're in the fairy realm." And I'm like, "I'm in the fairy realm? I'm in the fairy realm." Yeah, so I'm more and also channeling like my higher self and collective things as well that's coming up. So if I'm having an issue or a wound, some sort of situation, I'll channel right to my higher self or my guides, and that's usually how I channel. So it's very different.
That, very. Journal. You're already tapping. I'm gonna say you are using your psychic abilities. You journal regularly, don't you?
Yeah.
And where's that come from?
My intuition, my channel, my to source.
Yeah, she needs to get it out. She's just doing it because she needs to get it out.
Yeah, because I'm someone who I can't bottle up. I can't function as a human if I'm bottling up things. Like I just I can't lie either. So when I lie, that bottles up more emotion.
Yeah. Stuck energy.
Yeah. So I have to always let it out.
That's being out of integrity. So that's being truthful is part of being in integrity.
To her own detriment sometimes.
I'm the same. Truth is literally my highest value, and sometimes I'm like, I wish it didn't bother. Like for me, because it's such a high value for me, and Juliet, you probably get this. If someone's lies to me, I'm like, you're dead to me. Sometimes the littlest thing, because it's such a high value on my value scale.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm definitely the same. If somebody shows that they're, I don't know, like their values don't match mine, or that
their values don't even match their own behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Then I pretty much wipe them straight away. I can't help it. I can't be friends with someone like that.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I'm starting to do is just put boundaries up, because before it used to really me. Now I see that hurt people, right? And usually people that lie lie for a reason, and it's
Yeah.
usually a learned behavior from childhood when they've probably had to lie because they feared the reprise from a parent, and
Yeah.
it's become like a big thing in their life, and that's just how they operate daily now, right? And I'm not making excuses because we all get to have the choice to see
Yeah.
and change,
Yeah.
but I just put boundaries up and pull back from people like that in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with that because I was actually diving into this last night. Me and Mum were talking about it, and I figured out what my highest value was last night. I was on the fence about it for ages. I didn't know. I thought it was maybe love. I didn't, because I had done workshops where this came up, and you asked yourself, "What are your values?" You know, and I didn't really know, but I figured it out last night. So it's so weird that we're talking about it now, and it's honor. It's being an honorable person.
Yeah.
And truth is a big part of that. You speak the truth, you speak your truth, and also
and you follow it up with your actions.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
totally.
Yeah, and if you can't be honorable, you say, like, I have to let you down here because do you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't just disappear.
No.
Or don't just
that's like
give an excuse and then like expect the person to just accept it, you know?
Absolutely.
Because usually we can see through all the bullshit.
We can. And, you know, when going back to the foundations, one of the ones I didn't mention was self-care, right? And this comes into that. This comes into play there because self-care is, you know, not just about like eating right and having massages and doing all that sort of stuff. Self-care is also about saying no, right? So when you come into check and as you start to come back into integrity with yourself, you start to realize that there's a lot of places that you've probably committed to that are out of integrity for you. Like they're in service to everyone else but you, right? So it's about, you know, taking off that mask of the martyr, the fixerer, the one that needs to save the world. Start saving yourself, right? Put your own oxygen mask on first. And having, you know, I went through this process where I was way overcommitted. I'd say yes to everyone because I didn't like saying no to anyone, right? But what happens is we teach people how to treat us, right? And if you're saying yes, if you're a yes person, you say yes to everyone, right? They're only coming to you because you're the person that's saying yes all the time. It means they don't have to think about who to ask. So, you know, we talk about ways that we can say no, or maybe something like, you know what, I'm busy. It doesn't matter if you've got a date with Netflix. They don't need to know what you're doing. Like, honor your date with Netflix over taking, you know, someone to the airport or whatever, if that's not what you want to do. And where you've overcommitted, have a conversation, right? You might, you know, and we could have this argument about, well, that's out of integrity from your word. But if your word has been like something that let's just say it's a constant commitment, you're actually, is it better being out of integrity with them or with you? If you bring yourself back into integrity, because we're talking about our internal reality reflects our external reality, right? So if we shift that internal reality and just focus on coming into integrity with ourselves, definitely this is the honorable part of that, is having the conversation with the other person, right? But what we're doing is creating a whole new world, a whole new reality out there. We get to shift that by all the stuff we do in here.
Yeah, 100%.
So true. And it's so easy to forget as well. It's so easy to forget.
Yeah, because it's not how we're raised.
Yeah.
Really.
No, and when you're angry at the world, it's so easy to be angry and not really want to fix the problem.
Yeah. But I think you have to feel the anger and allow that to flow before you get to that point.
So absolutely.
Otherwise you get stuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like when people are just angry all the time and they're not going inside.
Yeah, because they're stuck in it.
Yeah, they're stuck in the anger.
Just projected, I was talking about this the other day with Kristy, actually, and I was, you know, saying we can quite easily shift into this projection and like let's just look at where this is playing out for us, right? You know, when we talk about not being in story and being angry in the moment. But if we are constantly checking in and assessing ourselves in the heat of the moment, we're not actually letting, because emotion is just energy emotion. It's
Yeah, that's
something
right.
that's wanting to run its course. And we actually need to honor that too.
Yes.
I always make it like a conscious effort to give it at least 24 to 48 hours, if not 72 hours before I come back and look at what, you know, the trigger was for the anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I need to honor that energy that's flowing through me. And
Yeah.
this community can often be quite toxic in the way that it's like, oh, well, what's that showing you? Like, let me be angry just for a minute.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
get this out, right? We just
Yeah.
bypass this stuff. It is literally energy. Like, yes, it's got story. The story helps us actually work out what the trigger is, and it helps us work out that projection later on. Just as long as you're not hurting anyone in the process, as long
Yeah.
as you're not hurting anyone in the process, verbally or physically, let the anger run its course.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not bypass it.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
If it exists, and anger exists, it's an emotion, it's part of
It's
life.
just energy.
Then
Yeah.
it has a
No.
purpose. There's
It's
a
not a
purpose
bad
to it.
thing. It really is. I feel like in some aspects of the spiritual community, it's just toxic positivity. It really is sometimes. And
Yes.
especially
Absolutely.
on social media. Especially on
Yeah.
social media. But it's in like I've been experiencing it right now, like in the past couple of weeks, is me trying to express while I'm in the emotion, while I'm angry, trying to express my issues that are coming up with this, express why I'm feeling this way. And it's just like, oh, well, that's medicine for you to receive. And I'm like, I know, I'm receiving it. This is me receiving the energy.
And it's actually so this is the other thing that really gets my goat, is that it doesn't mean that thing isn't happening. It doesn't mean that person's being
I know.
a horrible person, right? It
Yes.
does not mean that.
Yeah.
All it is an invitation to go inwards.
Yeah.
They can still be a horrible person and doing horrible things.
I
Like, let's
know.
not negate that, and let's not give them permission to be okay with that, because they're here to give us they're not here to give us medicine.
Exactly.
This is our own energy that wants to be seen, and if we need
Yeah.
to speak truth to that, then we need to speak truth to that. I'm allowed to voice how I feel about whatever's going on over here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't need to no one can make me feel guilty, but I don't feel guilty anymore when I speak to that.
Yes.
I used to, because of the way this community, I'm not putting us all into this bunch, but we are often
I know what you,
told not to. Oh my gosh, I get a bit passionate about this topic. And I know you do too, Claude. I think we went through this whole thing, like this whole realization together, and I think we were both really freaking confused for a while. And I think it's sort of, for me, what I
just
realized.
only natural.
So when I take people through this process now, I actually let them know that it's not taking away from what's happening over here. It doesn't mean that that's not happening, because that could very well be happening, and we can't. We have to feel this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Everything is valid. We need to make it valid.
Yeah. For ourselves.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we need to make it valid for ourselves.
So much validation I'm receiving right now.
Yeah, because just because someone else isn't receiving the lesson or whatever it is that in the moment that it's happening in front of you, and they're continually telling you it's your problem, it's your issue, it's got nothing to do with me, blah, 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 whatever, even though they are in the moment with you, they're standing in front of you, and it is happening to both of you, and they're in denial about it or whatever.
Gaslighting.
If you can validate it for yourself, regardless of what's happening on the outside, if you can validate it for yourself, and you can say, right, I trust my process, I trust who I am, I trust that I'm not projecting onto someone, or I'm
Yeah.
not, you know, I'm taking the lesson and I'm listening, then in my opinion, that's what needs to happen. That's what that's as far as it needs to go.
And we can come back to gratitude for the experience, which helps us kind of, we don't need to,
maybe
like,
not right
sometimes we don't
away.
need, no, well, not grateful to them, but grateful for the lesson that we've had. Like when we've done the processing, like days, for me, it's usually days later. But, and I really think we throw gaslighting and narcissism around way too much, but it is very gaslighty feeling when we're told, what's the medicine in that for you? It's almost like that's not happening. That is happening. And I have the right to use my voice. This community teaches us to use our voice, but then when we use it to say, no, I don't like what you're doing right now, right? It's actually telling us not to use our voice. Like it contradicts. So I think in this space we need to really navigate with discernment. And this is where, you know, even tuning in and creating that really healthy relationship with God, with spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? You can actually just check in and go, is this true for me? What is true for me here?
Yeah. And that's okay. Whatever is true for you is okay.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so important
it's my
to
truth.
talk about this. Yeah, because it's my truth. And there was, so in this situation that's just, I feel like I've just come out of it now, which is why we're even having this conversation, because I'm ready to hear it. But there was times, because I was in this situation with two other older women, and I was the only one, like, who seemed to be having issues according to their words. And I was like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one. Like, I was questioning myself.
She was questioning her sanity.
Yeah, because every single time I brought up what I was having, it's not even an issue, but what I was trying to show what they were doing.
You were voicing your feelings.
I was voicing my feelings, but more than that, I was talking about, hey, this isn't okay. What's happening? I was saying this isn't okay. And every time it was just like, instead of focusing on, oh, hey, this isn't okay, and showing them what actions they've been doing, it's just been focusing on what I was feeling about it, because how I was communicating. Guys, I don't like what's going on, and it's making me feel this. And they're like, oh, well, don't take things personally, and things like that. It was just really, really toxic in that way of just not taking on board anything that I was saying. And that whole, like, it's medicine for you to receive. And I'm like, maybe I'm just creating stuff. I don't really know. Like, it was just,
I think,
and that gaslighting moment came in.
I think, you know, the other thing with that, though, there, Juliet, is that some people prefer people to be stuck in wounding, so they keep trying to go back into, like, showing people that they're broken, because it gives them validation to, like, it's a cycle. Like, I'm sorry, but you know, I had this realization maybe a year or two, maybe a year and a half ago, where I was like, I was journeying with plant medicine, and I had this I had this like awakening. It's like, you know, my intention was to go into my shadows, because I just was like, I'm ready. I just want to do this. I want to get this all done. And as I was journeying, I had this this gnome with me, and he's like, we were in this dark void, like we were in emptiness. Like, I don't think I could have gone any further, and we just kept going down and down and down. And it just had no feeling, no sensation. And I kept saying, are we there yet? Like, is this end? Like, the whole way, are we there yet? And in the end, like, after a while, he just turns around and he goes, I don't know. You're the one telling this story. And I just went, like, something inside of me just went, I realized, like, I had been journeying. I constantly was journeying in looking for wounding to heal myself. I don't need to heal myself. I just needed to get some tools on board, so when shit happens, I can just use those tools at my disposal and get on with life. When we go into our wounding, we're staying stuck in the past.
Yeah.
we cannot program our future if we are stuck in the past. And there is lots of people in, that like to keep people there, whether that's in the spiritual, I see it everywhere. I see it even in business code. Like, I see it everywhere. Let's just look for people's flaws and keep them stuck there, because they'll just keep paying me money.
Yes. Awesome.
I would love to pay people money to help. Like, I'm all for people teaching me tools that I can take with me, and yes, taking me back into wounds, but not keeping me stuck there, not constantly telling me that you need to keep going back. Like, just allow the stuff to come up. The stuff will come up naturally when you're ready. Deal with it, move on. Bang, move on. Bang, move on.
Yeah, right? I watched a video by Dolores Cannon. She was being interviewed. I think it was by Gaia, the channel on, Gaia. Yeah. And she was saying that to be able to move through this dimension and get into the new world is to be able to let go of karma and fear.
Yeah.
To be able to let go.
Fear keeps us stuck.
The way we stay stuck where we are is to keep choosing to engage in these karmic activities with individuals and with ourselves in life.
Same story.
And also to stay fearful, to be afraid. And it's difficult because this realm is geared towards keeping us in fear. So being constantly bombarded with these fear messages, we need to find a way to transcend them, to go above them, and to realize what they are, that they're programs, and then we don't have to continually choose to stay in that cycle of healing that you were just talking about, which I believe is a karmic cycle. And to overcome our fears, and the only way you can do that is to face them.
Absolutely.
Face your fears.
Face the fear and do it anyway.
Exactly.
Wow, so true.
To see through the lie of what it is.
Exactly. And wounding is, like I said, wounding is just stagnant energy.
She's loving it.
I could listen to you guys talk for hours and hours and hours.
I actually love now, I do a practice called nonlinear movement. I studied nonlinear movement with Michaela Boehm, and like, I do this in my workshops and retreats so that people can go away and do the thing right at home, because you can do it for 5 minutes or you can do it for 5 hours. But what it does is it's so emotion is energy in motion, and it's literally like you're on all fours. So you can be on all fours. If you've got injuries, you can actually do it on your back. We do it with our eyes closed, so you go inwards, and what you do is you feel into where the emotional energy is in your body, and just ask it where it wants to track. And you literally move. You have music on. You don't do it to the rhythm of the music. You're literally in your body tracking, like, it could be fast, it could be slow. And what that does is it can actually tap in, because you're not in your conscious mind, you're in you underneath that. You actually release trauma and wounding without the story. Like, you can actually tap into that space and release it in a really beautiful way. So, yeah.
So it's like a bypass.
Well, it's not bypassing. You're still releasing, but you're just not releasing it with the story that we talk about, that we attach to it, because the story is what we are attached to. So without the story, we can release it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Breath work does the same thing.
Yeah, it's the story that holds the power within us, that we grant the power to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by continually looking for healing, when we're in that cycle,
I'm in that cycle right now.
Looking for healing. Yeah. What we're doing is we're giving our power away to it.
That's what
aren't we?
Yeah.
We're giving our power away to the person taking us through it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And that's what I've been doing within myself, like how you were saying with the gnome. You were looking
You were
where to
asking
go.
the gnome.
Yeah, where's my wounds? What's next to heal?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like I'm doing, because there's still so many parts of me that I know. I don't like the word healing either, but there's parts of me that need attention at some point, and instead of allowing it to flow when it comes up, I'm like, where is it? Let's dig in. Let's try and find it. And it takes so much of my energy away, of course, because it's not divinely timed for it to come up. It's time for me to
You're
heal
trying
it.
to be in control.
Yeah. And like, of course I'm not going to be able to heal it if I'm like trying so desperately to face it. Because if I'm trying desperately to face it, it means somewhere within me I can't face it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's been coming to my attention as well recently, of like noticing that I am looking for my own wounds to come up, noticing instead of just observing my mind and allowing it all to come when it comes. I'm like, no, I need to be healed as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the new age addiction.
Yes.
We get addicted to the dopamine and adrenaline hits and whatever other bodily chemicals we produce in the in the moment of healing.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, because it's like gratification, searching for gratification.
What a beautiful conversation.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I have absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it really has. This has been probably my favorite call so far. Not to put like, it's not lowering any of the other calls, but it's just
because you got so much out of it.
Yeah,
and it was timely for Juliet because of what she's going through.
So
of course it was.
So much has to do with like what I've been going through. So I think that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think we're complete.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll have you on again. Will you come back?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I actually have a couple of free masterclasses coming up too, if you want to share them in your group or whatever.
Oh yes, we would love to do that.
Absolutely. Cool. I'll send you the link. There's
send it to Juliet and she'll put it up on the post. Yeah.
Cool. So one's meet your spirit guides and creating a beautiful journaling practice, a daily journaling practice. And that's tapping into your psychic senses that we were just talking about. And the other is empowering the empath. So taking control back of your energy and all those things.
Awesome.
So, oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
They're both big, but yeah.
They're both big.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
All
right.
So very well.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Again. I will.
Yeah, we will.
Definitely.
Bye.
I will.
Bye.